The serial killers represent the epitome of a developmental process gone wrong.
Clinical psychologist Ken McGidd believes a failure to bond with parents at an early age, along with a genetic predisposition, may be building blocks for a serial killer.
So the baby says, pre-verbally, I'll never be in this position again, ever to experience this kind of pain. And the only way to do that is to never be vulnerable. So I'll always be in control, I'll always be vigilant, and I will do unto others before they do unto me.
What do we need to know? Well, we need to know why they kill. I don't think we know.
We know nothing. We have speculations, we have theories, we have all of these wonderful, nice, neat packages, but they still don't tell us how can we find one of these people before they kill someone.
There seem to be as many theories as there are killers. First, abuse, as seen in the case of child killer Christine Falling, abuse at a young age.
I think the family is where it all really begins. You don't find healthy, emotionally adjusted children becoming serial killers as adults.
Serial killers like Ted Bundy and others not only were not cuddled when they were young, but probably were abused or neglected in addition to some genetic predispositions that occurred in their lives.
We know the serial murderer has no emotional attachment to any human being. None. Otherwise, he would not be capable of doing what he's doing.
Okay. The self-confessed killer of 87 people, Donald Harvey, links sexual abuse in his childhood to later crimes.
By being abused by the uncle and the neighbor man, I think contributed 20% to me being a serial killer. I think there was something probably messed up in me mentally, or it messed me up mentally.
And everybody says abuse. Oh, I'm sick of hearing about abuse. I don't want to hear about abuse in relation to all you're doing is making excuses for these people. The word abuse does not begin to cover the experience of these people. The more dreadful the things that they do, the more grotesque the way they have been treated.
Regrettably, we may never know the truth about that issue because the theory was made popular to the extent that every sex offender in American prisons and mental hospitals knew the theory before anybody had done a decent study. And now a decent study can't be done because every offender knows that the way to get sympathy from an interviewer is to talk about your own sexual abuse.
Wesley Allen Dodd molested dozens of children and murdered 3 young boys, yet
I was never abused. I was never sexually abused. I was never physically abused. I wasn't neglected. The family had plenty of money, owned our own house, 2 cars, a trailer. I had a happy childhood.
They enjoy it. It's as simple as that.
It's kind of hard for a social scientist to use the word evil and not be pilloried by his colleagues, but it's simply another way of looking at the same phenomena.
You can see that there's a scarring in the white matter in the left frontal lobe.
However, some doctors look for medical reasons. Georgetown University neurologist Jonathan Pincus insists brain damage contributes to violence.
And to think that brain damage does not influence behavior is requires a leap of faith that I'm not willing to take.
Many serial killers use head trauma as part of their defense. Bobby Joe Long, the killer of 10 women, blames a motorcycle accident for his streak of violence.
Mainly the thing to me is his head injuries, because they've told us his brain's damaged, that the frontal part of his brain is damaged.
Many others have had the same history, the same brain damage, if you will, and I put that in quotes, and they don't go on to commit any crimes of violence.
So the question is, nurture or nature? Are the killers born this way, or do they learn how to kill? That depends on your professional perspective. Dr. Park Dietz, who has examined many serial killers, including Jeffrey Dahmer, thinks they learn to enjoy murder.
The beliefs that motivate a man like Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy are not delusional beliefs. They're personal preferences, a preference for what kinds of things are sexually stimulating. And that's learned in the same way that men become breast men or leg men, by exposure during critical periods of development.
It's a psychiatrist washing his hands of the case.
Did the defendant, Jeffrey L. Dahmer, have a mental disease?
When serial killers are arrested, the first words from the community are usually, he's crazy. But are these killers truly insane?
The law says they're not. The medical, psychiatric, psychological literature said that they must be.
Well, this is an argument that circles on itself because it's difficult to understand how individuals could do that, so it's very easy to say they must be insane or must be suffering from some mental disorder. But it's also a way of eliminating, or I should say refusing to look at the outer limits of human freedom and even human evil, if you will.
What they do is crazy, but these people who are doing it are not crazy. They understand what they're doing is wrong, but they are so far into their fantasies, in the cycle of fantasies, that it just keeps them going over and over and over again.
I see the serial killer and the severe psychopathic personality disorder as being the AIDS of the mental health community. That is, we don't have a cure for those people.